Chosen one, listen closely. Something you thought was over, something you buried deep in your heart, something you mourned and walked away from, is not finished. Heaven has whispered a resurrection over your life. What you thought was dead is only sleeping. What you thought was lost has only been hidden for a season. And what you believed could never be restored is about to return stronger than it ever was before. There was a time when you closed the door with trembling hands, convincing yourself that the chapter was done. You said, "I've tried enough. I've prayed enough. I've waited enough." You accepted the silence as an answer. You made peace with the pain. You moved forward, or at least you tried to. But something deep within your spirit never fully let go. Not because you were weak, but because heaven wasn't finished. God wasn't done writing that part of your story. Chosen one, you must understand. Endings in the kingdom of heaven are never truly endings. They are transitions. They are divine pauses, not permanent closures. When God steps in, what was once broken can be rebuilt, what was once lost can be found, and what was once over can be revived into something brand new. You see, the reason it had to end before is because you were not ready for what it needed to become. The version of you that once carried it wasn't equipped to sustain it. The foundation wasn't strong enough. The timing wasn't mature enough. The connections weren't aligned yet. And so, God allowed it to be buried, not to destroy it, but to develop it. Because resurrection only has meaning after death. Glory only shines brightest after darkness. So don't be surprised, chosen one, when something from your past starts stirring again. An opportunity, a dream, a relationship, a vision, a purpose. Something you thought was gone for good suddenly shows signs of life. That's not coincidence. That's heaven breathing over dry bones. That's God whispering, "It's time." But here's the truth. It won't return the same way it left. It's coming back stronger, refined, redeemed, realigned with purpose. What once drained you will now sustain you. What once confused you will now make sense. What once required your tears will now bring your joy. The difference this time is that you are different. You've healed. You've grown. You've learned how to let God lead instead of forcing outcomes. You've developed a maturity to carry what you once could only dream of. The chosen one that stands today is not the same person who once lost hope. You have walked through the fire and come out purified. You have endured seasons of silence, where heaven seemed quiet, but was actually building your strength in secret. You've carried disappointment like a cross, but now that very pain has become your anointing. God never wastes suffering. He transforms it into power. Chosen one, this return will shock those around you. People who thought you were finished will have to witness your renewal. They thought that part of your life was closed forever, but heaven has a way of reopening doors no one can shut. They'll say, "How did this happen?" And you'll say, "It was God. He wasn't done." Something you thought was over is about to reappear in a form that glorifies Him. It might not look exactly like before. It will look better, stronger, wiser, more divine, because now it's been through the refining fire. The mistakes, the waiting, the loss, all of it worked together to purify what's about to return. This isn't about going backward. It's about redemption. It's about divine restoration, the kind that only heaven can orchestrate. God is not reviving what was broken to bring you pain again. He's bringing it back to complete what was incomplete. What once caused confusion will now bring clarity. What once required struggle will now flow with ease. And chosen one, you'll know it's from God because it will feel peaceful, not pressured. The doors will open naturally. The timing will align effortlessly. There won't be striving this time, only surrender. There won't be chaos, only confirmation. When God brings something back, He brings it back in order, not in fragments. Maybe it's the dream you let die because reality felt too heavy. Maybe it's a calling you set aside because fear told you it was too late. Maybe it's a purpose that felt forgotten under the weight of life. Or maybe it's a relationship that needed distance to heal. Whatever it is, heaven is whispering right now. Prepare your heart. It's coming back, but this time it's going to stand. Chosen one, you will not have to chase it. You will not have to manipulate it. What is meant for you is being magnetically drawn back to you. Because destiny doesn't expire, it evolves. And what God ordains can never truly be lost, only delayed until the right moment. The years that seemed wasted are not gone. They are being redeemed. The lessons you learned in waiting will now serve as wisdom in your rising. The strength you gained in solitude will now anchor you in success. The patience that once felt painful will now be your protection. Nothing has been wasted. Everything was preparation. And soon, when you see it, when that opportunity or relationship or calling resurrects, your spirit will recognize it before your mind does. You'll feel it deep inside, that quiet confirmation from heaven. This is what I was preparing you for. You won't need to overthink it. You won't need to ask if it's real. The peace will tell you. Chosen one, this is your comeback season. Not because you forced it, but because you endured. You kept faith alive when everything looked finished. You kept walking when there was no visible path. You kept believing when even your heart was tired. And that's why heaven is honoring you now. This return will not just restore what you lost. It will reveal who you've become. It will show that endings can be rebirths, that ashes can become beauty, that death can lead to destiny. This is not the same story continuing. It's a new chapter rising from the old one's dust. So take a deep breath. Chosen one. The wind you feel shifting around you isn't random. It's resurrection wind. Heaven is breathing on what you thought was over. The pages are turning. The ground is shaking. And what once seemed finished is preparing to stand again, stronger than ever. They'll call it a comeback, but you'll know the truth. It was never truly gone. It was simply waiting for you to become the person capable of carrying it. And now you are ready. Chosen one, something you thought was over is about to return. Not as it was, but as it was meant to be. And when it does, the world will see that God's timing may take its time, but it never fails. Chosen one, there are moments in life when you stand at the grave of something you once believed in. A dream, a purpose, a relationship, a version of yourself. And you whisper a quiet goodbye, convincing yourself that it's over. You tell yourself that you've moved on, that you've accepted what is, that maybe it just wasn't meant to be. But even as you walk away, a small spark still flickers somewhere deep inside, a spark that refuses to die. That spark is heaven's promise, because when something is truly from God, it doesn't die, it simply waits. It waits beneath the surface, like a seed hidden under soil, unseen but not forgotten. It waits for divine timing, for the moment when your spirit, your faith, and your surroundings align. And now, chosen one, that moment is approaching. Heaven is stirring what once seemed finished. The soil is trembling. The seed is breaking open. What you thought was over is preparing to live again. You see, God often allows things to fall apart so that they can be rebuilt stronger. Sometimes He lets a dream go dormant to rewire your heart. Sometimes He lets something leave your life because it needs to mature outside of your reach. And sometimes He lets you lose what you love, not because He wants to hurt you, but because He wants to show you that when He gives it back, it will no longer own you. It will serve you. Chosen one, there was a time when you attached your identity to what you lost. You thought, if this is gone, then who am I? But God has been redefining you. He's been shaping you apart from that thing, so that when it comes back, you no longer depend on it to define your worth. That's why He had to separate you. That's why He let it fall. Because resurrection without transformation is just repetition, and heaven is not bringing back what was, but what will be. The dream that's coming back will no longer drain you. It will strengthen you. The opportunity that's returning won't overwhelm you. It will align with you. The relationship that's being restored won't break you again. It will bless you. Everything that's returning has been reformed by divine hands. You had to die to the old version of yourself so the new one could rise. You had to learn that God's love doesn't always look like comfort. Sometimes it looks like separation, silence, and surrender. You had to learn to trust Him when there was no evidence, to believe in a promise buried under pain. And because you did, now heaven is ready to show you why the waiting was necessary. Chosen one, what's about to happen in your life will not make sense to the natural mind. Things you released years ago will suddenly start reappearing. But this time, they'll come with peace, not pain. This time, you won't need to chase them. This time, you'll see that everything truly meant for you finds its way back. no matter how long it takes. You'll notice signs, divine synchronicities, familiar names, open doors, moments that feel like déjà vu but carry a new strength. You'll feel it in your spirit first, that sense of quiet recognition, that whisper of "this is it, this is the return." And when it comes, chosen one, it will come beautifully. It won't be rushed. It won't be chaotic. It will unfold naturally, as though it was waiting for your readiness all along. Because the truth is, what you thought was over never really left. It was simply being transformed in heaven's workshop, waiting for your spirit to mature enough to receive it properly. There's divine poetry in how God restores. He doesn't simply give back what you lost. He rewrites the ending. He takes what was broken and adds strength. He takes what was empty and fills it with glory. He takes what caused pain and infuses it with purpose. This is not a repeat, it's a resurrection. Chosen one, even now heaven is aligning pieces you can't see. The very same people who thought you were finished are about to watch you flourish. The very same places that once rejected you will now welcome you. The very same dream that died in your hands will rise in your heart. Stronger, clearer, and unstoppable. And here's what's even more powerful. When it returns, you'll realize you no longer need it the way you once did. You'll embrace it from fullness, not from lack. You'll hold it loosely, not fearfully. Because now you've learned the secret. Your identity was never in what you had, but in who called you. Every season of waiting was molding your capacity. Every disappointment was chiseling your discernment. Every tear watered the seed of your resurrection. What felt like loss was actually preparation. You had to go through the valley to learn the sound of God's voice. You had to experience stillness to understand divine timing. And now, that understanding has unlocked a higher dimension of faith, one that magnetically attracts restoration. Chosen one, the resurrection won't just surprise others, it will surprise you. It will be greater than what you asked for, wider than what you imagined, and deeper than what you prayed for. Because when God restores, He doesn't give you back what you had. He gives you something that shows His glory. There will come a moment soon when you'll pause and whisper, "This was what I thought was gone forever." But you'll say it with tears of gratitude, not grief, because you'll see how perfectly heaven's plan unfolded. The timing, the lessons, the strength, the wisdom, all of it will click into place. And you'll finally understand that it wasn't over. It was just being rewritten. You may have thought it ended in ashes, but heaven specializes in turning ashes into beauty. You may have thought it was broken beyond repair, but God has the blueprints for rebuilding from nothing. You may have thought the door was sealed, but heaven has keys to every lock. Something you thought was over is on its way back to you, not to repeat the pain, but to redeem the purpose. The same thing that once made you cry will now make you thank God. The same story that once broke you will become your greatest testimony. The same ending that felt final will now become the foundation of your new beginning. Chosen one, this return will be undeniable. It will bear the fingerprints of heaven. It will carry peace, clarity, and confirmation. You won't have to ask, "Is this real?" Because your spirit will know. God will make it so clear that you'll feel His hand guiding every step. The wait made you ready. The loss made you wise. The silence made you strong. And now heaven is saying, it's time to return what was always yours. So stand tall. Open your heart. The wind of restoration is blowing in your direction. The story that once ended in silence is about to sing again. The dream that once faded is about to bloom. The season that once felt empty is about to overflow. They thought it was over for you. Chosen one. They thought you were finished. But they forgot. Resurrection is heaven's specialty. Get ready, because what's about to return isn't coming back weak. It's coming back stronger, refined, renewed, redeemed. And when it stands again, the world will see. What God breathes on cannot die. Chosen one, you've walked through the valley of endings. You've stood in the ruins of what once was, your hands trembling as you try to pick up pieces of something you couldn't fix. You told yourself it was gone, that it was better to move on, that maybe it simply wasn't meant to last. But deep inside, deeper than the noise, deeper than your doubts, something within you never fully accepted the ending. It wasn't denial, it was discernment. Because your spirit always knew what your eyes could not see. Heaven wasn't finished yet. You see, what looks dead to man is only dormant to God. What looks silent to you is still singing in heaven's timing. You thought the story ended, but God was just changing the narrator. You thought the page was blank, but heaven was still writing. Because God never ends a story with loss, only with revelation. Chosen one, think about it. Every time you thought something was over, something within you grew. Every ending became a teacher. Every disappointment became a seed. Every delay refined your heart. And while you were questioning why it had to fall apart, heaven was building the foundation for something indestructible. You were asking for closure, but God was preparing for continuation. You wanted peace. God wanted power. There were seasons when you felt abandoned by what you loved. The people you trusted drifted away. The dream you fought for collapsed. The calling that once felt loud grew quiet. You looked around and saw nothing but emptiness. You whispered, "God, why would you bring me here, just to take it away?" But he didn't take it away to punish you. He took it away to prepare you. Because what you once called loss was actually protection. What you called failure was foundation. And what you called over was simply paused until heaven could reintroduce it at the right time. Chosen one, listen carefully. It's not over. It's only being resurrected in divine sequence. That dream that used to burn in your chest? It's still alive. But this time it will burn with purpose, not pressure. That opportunity you thought slipped through your fingers? It's circling back. But now you'll know how to handle it with wisdom. That version of yourself that you thought was gone, she's coming back, not fragile, but fierce. Not insecure, but illuminated. The reason it had to fall apart before is because you weren't meant to rebuild it the same way. God had to remove the parts that couldn't carry the weight of your calling. He had to strip it down to the foundation, so he could rebuild it with heavenly architecture. Because what he's constructing in your life now isn't ordinary, it's eternal. Chosen one, you've been through the fire, and yet here you stand. You've been misunderstood, overlooked, and underestimated, and yet the flame of your spirit never died. That's why heaven has chosen this moment, this very season, to resurrect what you thought was gone. But this time, it's not returning in fragments. It's coming back whole. And here's the mystery. The resurrection doesn't always look like what it used to be. Sometimes, the thing that's returning won't wear its old face. It may come in a new form, through new people, new places, new opportunities. But when it arrives, your spirit will recognize it instantly. You'll feel the same familiar presence, the same divine energy, but with more depth, more clarity, more peace. Because heaven never repeats itself, it evolves. The dream will not look like it did before, it will look better. The promise will not sound like it once did, it will sound truer. And you, the vessel through which it flows, will not be the same person who once struggled to believe it could happen. You've been transformed by time, tempered by testing, and taught by tears. You've been refined by the furnace of waiting. Every moment of heartbreak, every unanswered prayer, every quiet night where you questioned your purpose, it was all crafting a stronger, purer version of you. The waiting wasn't wasted, it was working. Heaven was refining your capacity to receive what's returning. Chosen one, do you feel it? The subtle shift in the air, the stillness before a breakthrough? That's not your imagination. That's heaven aligning timelines. The same energy that once carried you through loss is now ushering in restoration. What left your hands is returning to your heart. But this time, it's healed, holy, and heaven approved. They'll call it a comeback, but you'll know it's a resurrection. This isn't the universe being kind. It's heaven keeping its promise. This isn't random luck. It's divine justice. This isn't something new being given. It's something sacred being restored. And here's what will shock you most. When it returns, it will feel effortless. The striving will cease. The anxiety will fade. You won't have to chase it, because it will find you. You won't have to convince it, because it will recognize you. When God brings something back, He brings it with confirmation. And what once felt impossible will suddenly feel inevitable. Chosen one, the people who walked away when everything crumbled will be there to witness your rise. Not for revenge, but for revelation. Because your comeback isn't meant to shame anyone. It's meant to glorify God. They'll see that the same hands that let it break are the same hands that rebuilt it. The same heart that once ached is the same heart now overflowing. You'll walk through doors that were once locked. You'll stand in rooms where you once only dreamed of being. You'll hold in your hands what you once only saw in visions. And when you do, you'll realize the wait was worth it. The breaking was worth it. The pain was worth it. Because now you're not just restored, you're reborn. And even in your gratitude, you'll remember, this isn't about what's returning. It's about who you became while you waited. Because you are the miracle. You are the proof that endurance turns ashes into altars. You are the evidence that what God touches, no man can terminate. Chosen one, heaven is not just returning what you lost, it's multiplying it. For every tear you cried, there will be double joy. For every door that closed, two will open. For every season of silence, there will be a season of sound. What was taken from you will be returned pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Because heaven never restores halfway. Heaven restores an overflow. And when you step into this next season, remember how far you've come. Remember the prayers you whispered in secret, the nights you almost gave up, the moments when faith was your only fuel. That faith, that fragile, trembling, but unbroken faith, is what moved mountains. That faith is what unlocked heaven's hand. So now, when the impossible starts unfolding before you, don't be surprised. Don't question it. Don't wonder if you're worthy. You are. You always were. You were chosen long before the struggle began. Heaven counted you in before you even took your first breath. Chosen one, this is your divine return. This is the moment where heaven rewrites everything you thought was finished. This is the season where what died in your hands blooms again under your feet. This is where endings become beginnings. And when it happens, when you see it, when you feel it, when you live it, pause. Lift your eyes, breathe, and whisper, God, I see now. It was never over. It was always in your hands. Because chosen one, what's returning now is not the same as what left. It's stronger. It's wiser. It's covered in grace. And this time, it's here to stay.